My husband's hospital bracelet said father, but I wasn't the mother. Hi everyone! Before we get into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel's reach has been dropping a bit, and one of the best ways you can support us is by subscribing. It's quick, free, and helps us keep bringing you new and interesting stories. Your support means the world to us, and together we can grow this channel. Thank you so much. Now let's get to today's story. I'm writing from a temporary account for obvious reasons, and I've changed some details to protect my anonymity. I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who'd tell this story. I never imagined I'd be sitting here, typing out the ugliest truth of my life to strangers on the internet. But here we are. Sometimes you need to say something out loud, or write it down, just to convince yourself it actually happened, that it wasn't some terrible nightmare you can wake up from. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what I saw, what I learned, and how completely and utterly my entire world collapsed in the span of 5 minutes on a Tuesday afternoon in March. Let me start from the beginning, because the beginning was beautiful. The beginning was everything I thought love should be. I met David when I was 26. He was 28, working as a financial analyst at a mid-sized firm downtown, and I was finishing my master's degree in education. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party, one of those cramped apartment gatherings where everyone's shouting over music and you end up in the kitchen because it's the only place you can actually hear someone speak. He was standing by the fridge, holding a beer he clearly hadn't touched, looking as uncomfortable as I felt. We started talking about nothing important. The weather, how we knew the birthday girl, whether the guacamole was store-bought or homemade. But somehow, an hour passed, then 2, and suddenly, we were the last ones there, helping clean up red Solo cups and pizza boxes, still talking. He asked for my number. I gave it to him. 3 days later, we had our first date at a small Italian restaurant where the owner's grandmother still made the pasta by hand. David ordered for both of us in broken Italian he'd learned from YouTube videos, and when the waiter corrected his pronunciation, we both laughed so hard I snorted wine through my nose. That was David. Earnest. Trying. Imperfect in the most endearing ways. We got married 2 years later in a small ceremony at my parents' house. Nothing fancy, just family, close friends, and a backyard full of string lights and wildflowers. I wore my mother's wedding dress, altered to fit me. David cried during his vows. Real tears, the kind that made his voice crack when he promised to love me through everything, through good and bad, through boring Tuesdays and extraordinary Saturdays, through sickness and health. I believed every word. We built a life together, not a perfect one. No one's life is perfect, but a good one. A real one. We bought a small house in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place where people actually wave to each other and know their neighbors' names. David would leave for work at 7:30 every morning, kissing my forehead before he left. I'd make coffee in our sunny kitchen, the one we'd repainted together in a soft yellow that made everything feel warm, even on gray days. Our routines became sacred. Saturday mornings, we'd sleep in late, tangled up in sheets that smelled like lavender detergent. Then we'd walk to the farmer's market, holding hands like teenagers, buying more vegetables than we could possibly eat before they went bad. David would always buy me flowers, different ones each week. Sunflowers, peonies, tulips, whatever caught his eye. He'd present them with this little half-smile, like he was 16 and asking a girl to prom. Sunday evenings were for cooking together. David wasn't a great cook, but he tried. He'd chop vegetables with intense concentration, his tongue poking out slightly between his lips, the way it always did when he was focused. I'd tease him about it, and he'd flick water at me from the sink, and we'd laugh, and everything felt exactly as it should be. We had our arguments, of course. What couple doesn't? We fought about stupid things, whose turn it was to take out the trash, whether we could afford a vacation that year, how loud he played his music in the car. But we always talked it out. We always came back to each other. That was our thing. Communication, honesty, partnership. Or at least, that's what I thought. David worked long hours sometimes. Financial quarter ends, tax season, big client presentations. These things happened. I understood. I had my own work, my own busy seasons when report cards were due, and parent-teacher conferences ran late into the evening. We were both professionals. We both had responsibilities. When one of us was swamped, the other picked up the slack. That's what marriage is, right? Taking turns holding each other up. Looking back now, I can see things I missed. Or maybe things I chose not to see. The way he started taking more business trips over the past year. The way his phone was suddenly always face down on the table. The way he'd sometimes smell different when he came home. Not bad, just different. A perfume that wasn't mine. A scent I couldn't quite place. But I trusted him. God, I trusted him so completely, so naively, so stupidly. Tuesday started like any other day. I woke up at 6, made coffee, checked my email. David had already left early for a breakfast meeting with a client, or so he said. I didn't question it. Why would I? I spent the morning grading papers at the kitchen table, red pen in hand, systematically working through a stack of essays about The Great Gatsby from my 10th grade English class. Around 1 in the afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Probably a spam call about my car's extended warranty, but something made me pick up. Is this Mrs. Morrison? A woman's voice, professional, clipped. Yes, this is she. This is St. Catherine's Hospital. I'm calling about your husband, David Morrison. He's been admitted to our emergency department. My heart stopped. Just completely stopped beating for what felt like an eternity. What? What happened? Is he okay? He was in a car accident earlier today. Non-life-threatening injuries, but we're keeping him for observation. You can come see him. He's in the ER, bed 17. I'm coming right now. I didn't even hang up properly. I just grabbed my keys, shoved my feet into the nearest shoes I could find. They didn't match, I realized later, and ran to my car. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely get the key in the ignition. The drive to St. Catherine's was a blur. I don't remember traffic lights or stop signs or other cars. I only remember the panic clawing at my chest, the horrible scenarios playing on loop in my mind. David hurt. David bleeding. David alone and scared and asking for me. I loved him so much in that moment. Despite everything that would come next, that love was real. That terror at the thought of losing him was real. St. Catherine's is a large hospital, one of those sprawling medical complexes that feels more like a small city than a building. I parked badly, taking up 2 spaces, and ran through the main entrance. The lobby was all white walls and fluorescent lighting, and that particular smell hospitals have antiseptic and sickness, and floor cleaner trying desperately to mask both. Emergency room, I gasped at the front desk. My husband, David Morrison, bed 17. The receptionist, an older woman with glasses on a beaded chain, checked her computer. 3rd floor, take the elevator to your left, follow the signs. I ran. Actually ran, my shoes squeaking on the polished linoleum, past doctors in white coats, and nurses pushing medication carts, and families sitting in waiting areas, with that particular look of exhausted worry that hospitals breed. The elevator took forever. When the doors finally opened on the 3rd floor, I practically burst out, scanning frantically for signs pointing toward the ER. The emergency department was a maze of corridors and curtained-off areas. Monitors beeped. Someone was crying in one of the rooms. A doctor was shouting orders about a patient coding in room 4. The chaos should have scared me, but all I could think about was finding David. Bed 17? I asked a passing nurse. She pointed down the hallway. 3rd curtain on the right. I stumbled toward it, my heart hammering against my ribs. What would I find? How badly was he hurt? I pulled back the curtain. David was lying in a hospital bed, propped up slightly, his left arm in a sling. His face was bruised, a nasty purple spreading across his cheekbone, and there was a bandage on his forehead. But he was awake. He was alive. David! I rushed to his bedside, tears already streaming down my face. Oh my God, are you okay? What happened? He looked at me, and for just a second, just the briefest flash, something crossed his face. Not relief, not happiness at seeing me, something else, something that looked almost like guilt, fear, but it was gone so fast I thought I'd imagined it. "I'm okay," he said, his voice rough. "Just some bruising and a dislocated shoulder. They popped it back in. It's fine." "What happened?" "Car accident. Someone ran a red light, hit my passenger side. It all happened so fast." I grabbed his hand, his good hand, and held it like I'd never let go. I was so scared. When they called, I don't know what I thought. I just knew I had to get here. "I'm okay," he repeated. "Really, I'm fine." I noticed things then, in that moment of relief. The hospital bracelet on his wrist, the standard white plastic band they give everyone who comes through the ER. I could see his name printed on it in small black letters. Morrison David. His date of birth, his medical record number, and below that, another word. A single word that would detonate my entire existence. "Father," I stared at it. Read it again, then again. "Father." "Why does your bracelet say father?" I asked, my voice sounding strange and distant to my own ears. David's face went white. Actually white, like all the blood had drained out of it in an instant. "What?" "Your bracelet, right here." I touched it gently, pointing at the word. "It says, father." Is that some kind of medical designation? Like your father's medical history or something? I was grasping at straws, trying to make sense of something that didn't make sense, trying to find a logical, innocent explanation for a word that suddenly felt like a bomb. David's mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. "David!" My voice was sharper now. "Why does it say that?" There must be a mistake. They must have mixed up my bracelet with someone else's." But his voice was wrong, all wrong, too high, too fast, too desperate. A nurse walked by, and I flagged her down without thinking. "Excuse me, there's a mistake on my husband's bracelet. It says father, but that doesn't make sense." She looked at the bracelet, then at her tablet, then back at David with a confused expression. "No, that's correct. He's listed as the father. The mother is in the maternity ward, room 4 and 12. She gave birth about 2 hours ago." The world stopped, not metaphorically, not dramatically. It actually, literally stopped. Sound disappeared. The lights seemed to dim. Everything went very far away and very close at the same time. "What?" The word came out as a whisper. The nurse looked between us, and I watched understanding dawn on her face. Her eyes went wide. Oh my God. "I'm so sorry. I assumed." She backed away quickly, disappearing behind a curtain, leaving me standing there with my hand still holding David's, staring at him while my brain tried desperately to process what I'd just heard. "Sarah, I can explain," David started. "You can explain?" My voice didn't sound like mine. It sounded like it was coming from underwater, distorted and strange. "You can explain why there's a woman in the maternity ward who just gave birth to a baby that the hospital has listed you as the father of. It's complicated." "Complicated?" I dropped his hand like it had burned me. "That's the word you're going with? Complicated?" People were staring now. Other patients, other nurses. A doctor paused in the hallway, looking concerned. I didn't care. I couldn't care. All I could feel was this enormous, crushing weight pressing down on my chest, making it impossible to breathe. "How long?" I demanded. "How long have you been sleeping with her?" "Sarah, please lower your voice." "How long?" David flinched. His bruised face crumpled, and for a second, I almost felt sorry for him. "Almost." "A year," he whispered. "A little over a year." "A year. 12 months. 52 weeks. 365 days of lies." I thought about the past year. Thought about every "I love you" he'd said. Every kiss goodnight. Every Saturday morning at the farmer's market. Every Sunday dinner we'd cooked together. Every time he'd touched me, made love to me, held me, and told me I was his everything. All of it. Every single moment. A lie. Who is she? My voice was eerily calm now, the kind of calm that comes right before a total breakdown. Her name is Rebecca. She works at my office. She's your coworker. I laughed, and it sounded insane even to me. Jesus Christ, you're such a cliché. Your coworker? Really? That's the best you could do? It wasn't supposed to happen. It just what? You just accidentally fell into bed with her? You just accidentally had sex with her enough times to get her pregnant? You just accidentally built an entire secret life while I sat at home like an idiot, trusting you, believing every word you said? Tears were streaming down my face now, hot and angry and endless. I couldn't stop them, didn't even try. Were you ever going to tell me? I asked. Or were you just going to keep living this double life forever? Playing happy husband with me while playing daddy to her and your... I couldn't even say the word. Baby. He had a baby, with someone else. I didn't know what to do, David said, and he was crying too now. I didn't want to hurt you. I love you, Sarah. I do. I never meant for any of this to happen. You love me? I stared at him in disbelief. You have a really fucked up way of showing it. A security guard appeared at the edge of the curtain area. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to calm down or leave. I'm leaving, I said. Don't worry, I'm definitely leaving. But I didn't move. I couldn't. My legs felt like they were made of concrete. Sarah, please. David reached for me with his good arm. Can we talk about this? Can we go somewhere private and just talk? Talk? I stepped back, away from his reach. What is there to talk about? You cheated on me. You got another woman pregnant. You've been lying to me for a year. Those are facts, David. There's nothing to discuss. I want to fix this. I want to fix us. Us? I laughed again, that same unhinged sound. There is no us. There hasn't been an us for a year, apparently. There's you, and there's me, and there's Rebecca, and there's your baby. That's not an us. That's a fucking disaster. I turned to leave, finally finding the strength to move my legs. Sarah, wait. Go to hell, David. I walked out of the ER with as much dignity as I could muster, which wasn't much. I kept my head up, my shoulders back, even as tears continued to pour down my face. I walked past the nurse's station, past the waiting room full of people with their own emergencies, past the elevators. I didn't trust myself to get in the elevator. Too enclosed. Too many people. So I found the stairs and took them, one floor after another, my hand gripping the railing so hard my knuckles turned white. When I finally emerged into the parking lot, the sunlight felt obscene. How dare the sun shine? How dare it be a beautiful spring day when my entire life was falling apart? I sat in my car for 20 minutes, just staring at the steering wheel, trying to breathe, trying to think, trying to figure out what to do next. And then a thought occurred to me, a terrible, irresistible thought. Room 4 and 12. The maternity ward. I should go home. I should leave. I should never, ever go to room 4 and 12. But I couldn't help myself. I got out of the car, walked back into the hospital, took the elevator to the 4th floor. The maternity ward was a different world from the ER. Softer lighting, pastel colors on the walls, a big board listing new arrivals with pink and blue footprints, the sound of babies crying in the distance, that particular newborn wail that sounds like nothing else on earth. I found room 412 easily. The door was partially open. I should have left. I should have turned around right then and there. But I looked inside. A woman was lying in the hospital bed, holding a tiny bundle wrapped in a blue blanket. She was young, younger than me, by at least 5 years. Pretty, in a girl-next-door kind of way. Dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked exhausted and radiant at the same time, the way new mothers do. She was looking down at the baby with such pure love on her face that it made my chest ache. And then she looked up and saw me standing in the doorway. For a moment, we just stared at each other. I saw recognition flicker across her face. She knew who I was. Of course she knew. Had David shown her pictures? Had they laughed about me together? "You're Sarah," she said quietly. "You're Rebecca." She nodded. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Are you?" I stepped into the room, my voice shaking. "Are you really? Because you slept with a married man. You got pregnant by a married man. You had his baby. That doesn't sound like someone who's sorry." "He told me he was going to leave you." Her voice was barely above a whisper. "He said the marriage was over, that you two were staying together out of habit, not love. He said he was going to tell you, that he just needed to find the right time." Classic. So classic it was almost funny. "He lied to you," I said. "Just like he lied to me. Our marriage wasn't over. I had no idea it was even in trouble. We were happy. Or at least, I thought we were. But apparently, while I was grading papers and cooking dinner and sleeping next to him every night, he was with you." Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know he was still, that you two were still." "Didn't know?" I felt my anger rising again, hot and sharp. "You work with him. You spent a year sleeping with him. You never wondered why he never invited you to his house? Why you never met any of his friends or family? You never thought that was strange? He said he was private, that he liked keeping work and personal life separate." God, we're both idiots, aren't we? I looked at the baby in her arms. A boy, presumably, based on the blue blanket. He was sleeping, tiny fists curled up by his face. He looked like David. Even newborn, even barely a few hours old, I could see David in the shape of his nose, the curve of his chin. A baby that should have been ours, if we'd wanted one. A baby that was David's, but not mine. "What's his name?" I asked. "I haven't decided yet." "Are you going to keep him?" She looked at me like I'd suggested something insane. "Of course I'm going to keep him. He's my son." "And David? What's his role in this?" "I don't know." Rebecca shifted the baby in her arms. "We haven't really talked about logistics. Everything happened so fast. My water broke while we were—" She stopped abruptly, her face flushing red. "While you were what?" I asked, even though I knew. God help me, I knew. "While you were together? Is that why he was in his car? Was he driving back from your place when he got in the accident?" She didn't answer. She didn't need to. "Wow." I leaned against the doorframe, suddenly exhausted. "He was with you when his baby was born, or almost born, and I was at home, grading papers, completely oblivious." "I really am sorry," Rebecca said again, "for whatever that's worth." "It's not worth much," I replied. "But thanks, I guess." I turned to leave, then stopped. One more question. I had to know. "Did you love him?" Rebecca looked down at her baby. "I thought I did, but I don't think I knew him at all. Not really. He was one person with me, and apparently a completely different person with you. I don't know which version was real. Maybe neither." "Yeah," I said softly. "Maybe neither." I left the hospital for the second time that day, got in my car, drove home on autopilot. Our house looked the same as it had that morning. The yellow kitchen, the wildflowers in a vase on the counter, starting to droop. The coffee pot I'd forgotten to turn off. The coffee now burned and bitter-smelling. David's jacket hanging on the hook by the door. Everything looked the same, but nothing would ever be the same again. I called my sister. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, what's up?" "Emma," I said, my voice breaking. "Can you come over? I need you." "What's wrong? Are you okay?" "No, I'm really, really not okay." She was there in 20 minutes. I told her everything. She held me while I sobbed. Great, heaving sobs that came from somewhere so deep inside me, I didn't know that place existed. She made tea I didn't drink. She called our mom. She sat with me while I stared at the walls and tried to process the fact that my life as I knew it was over. David called 17 times that first night. I didn't answer. He texted, "Please let me explain. I'm so sorry. I love you. This is all my fault. Please don't leave me. We can get through this." I blocked his number. The next few days were a blur. My sister stayed with me. My mom came. Friends appeared with casseroles and wine and awkward sympathy. Everyone kept saying things like, "You'll get through this," and "You're so strong," and "It's his loss." But none of it helped. None of it made the pain any less. I didn't eat, didn't sleep, just lay in our bed, my bed now, I guess, staring at the ceiling, playing through every moment of our relationship, trying to figure out where it went wrong, trying to figure out what I missed, what I could have done differently. But the truth was, I didn't miss anything. I didn't do anything wrong. David made his choices. David lied. David destroyed everything we'd built together. A week after the accident, David's brother showed up at my door. "He wants to come get some of his things," Marcus said awkwardly. "He's staying with me right now. His arm's healing well, if you were wondering." "I wasn't," I said flatly. "Sarah, I know you're hurt." "Hurt?" I laughed. "I'm not hurt, Marcus. Hurt is when someone forgets your birthday. Hurt is when someone says something mean in an argument. This is devastation. This is betrayal. This is my husband having a secret baby with another woman while pretending everything was fine." Marcus had the grace to look ashamed. "I know, it's unforgivable. I told him that. I told him he's a complete idiot, and he destroyed the best thing that ever happened to him." "Did you know?" I asked suddenly. "Did you know about her?" "No." He looked me straight in the eye. "I swear on my life I had no idea. If I'd known, I would have told you, or beaten some sense into him." "Probably both." I believed him. Marcus was a good guy, one of the good ones, unlike his brother apparently. "He can come get his stuff tomorrow afternoon," I said. "I'll be gone. I don't want to see him." "Okay, thank you." The next day, I went to my mom's house while David collected his belongings. When I came home, half the closet was empty. His toothbrush was gone from the bathroom. The indent on his side of the bed looked obscene in its absence. I slept on the couch that night. I hired a divorce lawyer. Her name was Patricia Chen, and she was exactly what I needed: sharp, efficient, and quietly furious on my behalf. "Infidelity with a child involved makes this pretty straightforward," she told me at our first meeting. "We'll push for a clean split. You keep the house. He's going to have child support obligations now, so his financial situation is going to be complicated, but that's not your problem." "I don't want anything from him," I said. "I just want out." "I understand, but you're entitled to a fair division of assets. Don't let your emotions make you accept less than you deserve." David tried to reach me through friends, through family, sent letters to the house, showed up at my school once, waiting in the parking lot until I threatened to call security. He wanted to talk, wanted to explain, wanted forgiveness. I had nothing to say to him. The divorce proceedings took 4 months. 4 months of paperwork and lawyers and the slow, bureaucratic dismantling of a marriage. 4 months of sleeping alone and cooking for one, and slowly, painfully, learning how to be a person again instead of half of a couple. I found a therapist. Her name was Dr. Monroe, and she had a calm presence and a box of tissues that never seemed to run empty. "You're grieving," she told me. "Not just the end of your marriage, but the loss of who you thought your husband was, the loss of your future together, the loss of your sense of safety and trust. That's a lot to grieve." "How do I trust anyone again?" I asked her during one session. "How do I ever believe someone when they say they love me?" "You'll learn to trust yourself first," she said. "You'll learn to listen to your instincts, and eventually, when you're ready, you'll find that not everyone is like David. Most people aren't. I'm still working on that part." The divorce was finalized on a rainy Tuesday in July. I signed the papers in Patricia's office, my hand surprisingly steady. David signed them at his lawyer's office across town. We didn't see each other. We didn't need to. Just like that, 7 years of marriage were reduced to a legal document and a notary's stamp. I heard through the grapevine that David and Rebecca weren't together. That after the initial chaos died down, they realized they didn't actually like each other very much. That David was paying child support and had visitation rights, but they weren't playing happy family. That Rebecca had moved back in with her parents. I felt a small, petty satisfaction at that. I'm not proud of it, but I did. I also heard that David lost his job, that the affair had been against company policy, and when HR found out about it, they let him go. Rebecca had been fired too. More petty satisfaction. I sold the house. Couldn't stand to live there anymore, surrounded by ghosts of who we used to be. Bought a small condo downtown, close to my school. Started over with new furniture, new paint, new everything. Left no trace of David or our life together. I kept my married name, though. Morrison. Not because I wanted any connection to him, but because changing it felt like too much work. And honestly, he didn't deserve to dictate that choice. It's been 8 months since that Tuesday in March. 8 months since I saw Father on a hospital bracelet, and my world imploded. Some days are better than others. Some days I wake up and feel almost normal, almost like myself again. Other days, the pain is so fresh, it feels like it just happened yesterday. I'm dating again. Sort of. Nothing serious. A few first dates that went nowhere, one brief fling that fizzled out after a month. I'm not ready for anything serious, and I'm honest about that with anyone who asks. Maybe someday I'll be ready to trust someone completely again. Maybe not. Either way, I'm learning to be okay with just me. My friends tell me I'm brave. My therapist tells me I'm resilient. My sister tells me I'm a badass. I don't know if any of that is true. I just know I survived something I didn't think I could survive, and that has to count for something. I think about David sometimes. Wonder if he thinks about me. Wonder if he regrets what he did, or if he's just sorry he got caught. Wonder if he tells his son about me someday, about the woman he was married to before. Wonder if Father on a hospital bracelet still makes him feel guilty, or if he's moved on, the way people like him always seem to do. Mostly, though, I don't think about him at all. I think about me, about who I am now, who I'm becoming, about the fact that I get to decide what my life looks like from here on out. No more living for someone else. No more sacrificing my time, my energy, my trust for someone who doesn't deserve it. This is my life now. Mine alone. And you know what? That's not the worst thing in the world. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry someone you loved betrayed you. I'm sorry your world fell apart. I'm sorry you have to rebuild from scratch. But you can rebuild. I'm living proof of that. It won't be easy. Some days it will feel impossible. Some days you'll want to stay in bed and never get up. Some days you'll be so angry you'll want to scream until your throat bleeds. Do all of that. Feel all of it. Don't rush yourself. Don't let anyone tell you to get over it or move on before you're ready. And then, when you're ready, and you'll know when you're ready, you'll get up. You'll take a shower, you'll make coffee, you'll put one foot in front of the other, and eventually, without even realizing it, you'll be okay again. Not the same, never the same. But okay, maybe even better than okay. I'm not there yet. But I'm getting there, and if I can get there after what I went through, anyone can. So here's to hospital bracelets that reveal ugly truths. Here's to the end of lies and the beginning of honesty, even when the truth destroys everything. Here's to survival and second chances, and learning to trust yourself again. Here's to life after betrayal. It's not what I planned. It's not what I wanted. But it's mine, and that's enough.